Hi everyone, I'm Rena 9 and thank you for joining us. Record high temperatures are expected across much of the country this weekend. A heat wave is scorching the Midwest and East Coast. More than 150 million people are expected to feel the impact. The heat is already being blamed for at least 6 deaths. CBS News' Natalie Brand has the details.
This weekend heat wave and threat of triple-digit temperatures not keeping away the crowds. We are at the Apollo Anniversary Festival at the mall, and you can see a lot of folks are in the direct sunlight, and that has city officials quite nervous. So they have extra resources in place. They're closely monitoring the situation. If we take a look just to the left of me, there is a medical tent that has been set up to triage folks who are suffering from heat-related illness. We know the city is also watching things from an emergency operations center. They have opened cooling centers around town, and this is a threat that extends from Virginia up to New England, with temperatures expected in the mid-90s to 100, but then add the heat index on top of that, so things can actually feel closer to 110 to 115 degrees. And keep in mind, with the high humidity, sometimes you don't know how hot you actually are. A lack of sweating can actually be an indicator of heat-related illness. That, along with headache, dizziness, muscle fatigue, cramping. You need to really pay attention to those signs. Doctors and city leaders urging care with these very dangerous, potentially life-threatening temperatures.
Natalie Brand, some great advice. Thank you very much. And CBS News contributing meteorologist Jeff Berardelli joins me now. So Jeff, how hot is it going to get? What are you watching for?
So what I'm watching for is not only the heat, but also the humidity. High temperatures are somewhat, I'd almost say, bearable in some areas. I mean, there are places yesterday that got to 90 to 95 in the upper Midwest, but their heat indices were so high because there was so much Gulf moisture in the upper Midwest. So spiking those temperatures, making them feel closer to 115, 120. This is what we're expecting today. Hartford, the reason why I have a star at Hartford is because if it gets to 103, that would be an all-time record high. It'll probably fall just short. When you factor in the humidity, this is what it feels like. So 110 Tulsa, 111 in Richmond tomorrow. Not much difference. 106 Boston, 108 New York, maybe even higher. Some of our computer models around the New York area are predicting even higher feels like temperatures. Richmond, Virginia, 111. But notice it does cool down in Minneapolis later tomorrow. We'll tell you more about the cool down in a second or two. But those are the actual temperatures, Rena. 100 in New York today, 113, the feels like temperature. 99 in Boston, feels like 106. And during the day tomorrow, take a look at this. We max out around 98 in the city, but
wow.
We add another 17 degrees for the feels like temperature. It feels like 115 there, 113 in Philadelphia. DC's no picnic. Feels like 108 there, 105 as it feels like temperature in Boston. So some real heat heading our way over the next couple of days. Not going to last forever, though. That's the good news.
That is the good news. When do you think we'll see a cool down?
So we have this front in the upper Midwest right now. It's going to gradually make its way to the south. It'll produce some showers, some thunderstorms, and it will be a heat-busting cold front. So you can see those showers and storms later today, Green Bay, Saginaw, Michigan, making its way south through the Ohio Valley tomorrow. Indianapolis, you'll get in on some of that rain-cooled air. Still plenty of heat up and down the eastern seaboard, though, up and down the I-95 corridor. But by Monday, the storms move our way, so the clouds move in, temperatures begin to cool down, and behind the front, much cooler air is going to be moving in. In fact, the jet stream is going to do a complete flip-flop across the country. So big dome, big mountain dome, they call it, heat dome across the east. But watch what happens as these two kind of areas, the trough and the ridge, kind of switch places. So the heat will be across the west coast as we head towards the middle of the week. Much cooler air moves into the northeast. Are you ready for 50s and 60s? Because by Wednesday morning, a lot of folks in the Northeast and Great Lakes will be in the 50s and 60s. New York City will be in the 60s, but outside of the city, 50s.
I mean, just the concept of it being 60 here when it feels like 110 is just pretty remarkable to hear. But, you talk about these swings that we've seen over the past year. You cover climate change extensively. What are people saying when it comes to climate change and these extreme weather climates temperatures that we've seen?
So we know for sure that heat waves are getting worse because of climate change. Maybe not necessarily this one. I mean, every heat wave is worse because of climate change because we've added 2 degrees to the average temperature that we used to have in the late 1800s. So it does spike every heat wave, but certain heat waves are affected more. These are the results of 2 recent studies. And by 2050, Minneapolis, their average warmest month goes from 80 degrees to 90 plus by 2050.
Wow.
Heat index days above 105, they will triple.
My gosh.
And in New York City, right now we average about 2 days where our heat index is above 100. By 2050, it's 20 days of summer. By 2085, it's 42 days of summer.
That's significant.
Yeah, that's very significant. And also, we want to show you a graphic here. It's going to animate it. It basically goes from now through 2050 and 2100. It shows how those 100-degree days creep their way up the United States and bring sweltering heat to the whole country. So take a look at that. By 2100, there we are now. There we are 2050, there we are 2100. You can kind of see that heat creeping up north. Places like Dallas, right now they have about 5 days that are above 105 for an actual temperature. By 2050, it's 30 days. By 2060, it's 60 plus days.
Remarkable.
Yeah, maybe not 2060, 2100, but it's a lot.
That map says so much.
Yep.
Well, thank you for joining us, Jeff Berardelli.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.